Make it.
Okay, we're rolling.
We're rolling.
What song is that?
I made it up.
Oh, you're a songwriter then.
Yeah, taking after you. Maybe you'll paint something.
I can paint your nails.
Remember when you did my makeup during lockdown?
Yeah, it's
That
beautiful.
was really beautiful. We have pictures.
We'll try to find a picture.
There was so much blush. It was like 2 straight lines of blush.
Well, I tried to make you look like Margot Robbie in that movie where she's all painted up. What's it called?
Yeah, I forget the name of it now.
Harley Quinn?
Yeah.
Or she was Harley
People
Quinn.
definitely would not have looked at that photo and been like, you look like Margot Robbie.
I look
Or any
pretty
photo
good.
of me for that matter, but certainly not that one.
It was really good.
It was really good.
We have to find the picture now.
We will dig it up just for you.
Yeah.
Welcome to Make It with Mike and Kristen.
Where creative people talk about what they make and what making it means to them. You have your part memorized pretty good now?
I got it down. I don't have to reference any lines anymore.
Yeah, you're not using mnemonics?
Put me on Broadway, really. I can memorize this stuff.
I think Broadway, being in live theater, would be the hardest thing of all the arts.
I used to love, I did live theater in high school in the Annapolis Valley, so not Broadway, but a sense of the live theater element. And it was very exciting, actually. I loved it. Very nervous, but I think the rush of it being live makes it all the more exciting.
I wouldn't mind just doing improv on a stage where you can just make lines up, but having to have it so exact. Like you can't.
No, I'm totally the opposite.
You can't mess up your line, or it messes up what the other person's going to say. But if I was just making stuff up on the go, like I'm good with that.
But you can remedy that through rehearsal and practice, preparation.
But preparation only goes so far if you get up there and you're nervous and it all goes away like that.
Maybe, but you get nervous for shows and it doesn't seem to go anywhere but out.
Singing's easy. No.
Well, speaking of the Annapolis Valley, today's guest, Noel Morgan, is from the Annapolis Valley, which is nice to have a little bit more of the diversity in the province.
Yes, we have a big, beautiful province here in Nova Scotia. Amazing people from all parts of it. Most parts. There's some pretty rough parts. I know, I'm joking. But yeah, he's a great singer, songwriter, musician from down your way where you grew up.
And we talk about life in that part of the province and him finding a balance, creating music, working in the arts, and also working construction or projects, working on those types of projects. So he's kind of dabbling in those worlds, but he has this really cool creation out where he's done 8 songs and 8 corresponding music videos that make in completion a film.
Yeah, they all go together.
Yeah, so you can find that on YouTube. Of course, we've got all the links for things, but we share that the history and the work behind that project, but also just kind of where he's at now in his life.
Yeah, he's released his EP, this cool music video project, and a show's coming up, and just a really nice guy, great to talk to, and just a warm personality, and yeah, pleasure to have him in our space.
He's a salt of the earth guy that I'm glad that we have gotten to know a little bit better. We met him through mutual friends who have also been on the podcast. That seems to be the way that things go. And you realize how interconnected the province really is. And I know you were just in Cape Breton for the week and had some of those encounters, certainly, of fans and friends from all walks of life that would have been at your Iona show that you see every year, maybe only there, but they're loyal. And then Granville Green in Port Hawkesbury.
Yeah, had some great shows back home in Cape Breton. It was kind of a whirlwind trip where, playing these awesome shows, couple sold out shows in Iona that has become an annual thing there. And just a great tradition for us and the people attending. And then spending some beach time at home and seeing family and my nephew's baseball games. I got to 3 of those.
Yeah.
He got hit by 3 pitches too, 3 beanballs.
Jeez, 3 for 3.
He's got a good on base percentage.
So did that get him on third base, or these were separate?
First base.
Or yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you do not go to third base first.
Sports commentator.
Yeah, you know your stuff. Do you know how to throw a split finger fastball?
Remember last night when you couldn't sleep, I was asking you trivia, and one of them was, can you name 5 figure skaters?
And how many did I name?
I think 7 or 8.
I named 10.
Oh,
remember?
did you name 10?
Because
I named 10 basketball teams.
I got the 10th was Jose Chouinard.
Mm-hmm. We had a few hints here and there, but you did well. I think we both did okay.
Christian
Like lying there in
Yamaguchi.
the dark at midnight trying to come up with trivia questions so that we could both fall asleep.
But yeah, we played these awesome shows and seeing friends and family, and got to see Our Libido, a band that I grew up listening to and watching. They had a reunion show, so that was pretty awesome. Then played the show on Sunday at Granville Green, and after that had a little, I guess I'll say, a family emergency that's led to a few sleepless nights, and everything's looking good now, but it's been a quite a whirlwind, going from the Hive on stage to the scariness that can come with health related things.
And that is life sometimes. You never know when those, what did you call it, split finger fastballs,
Split finger fastball
are going to come at you.
My dad had a rule book for baseball. He used to ump baseball. And there was 3 illegal pitches. A spitball, you can't spit on the ball. I think the second was like
just because that's gross, or does it give you some kind of advantage to spit
just
on the ball?
grip,
Okay.
and you're able to throw it a little bit better, I guess. And I don't know if they call it a Vaseline ball, whatever it was. Just a very short name. Like you can't use a lubricant to get the special grip.
Bit of a theme happening here, but
And the third illegal pitch is a Dr. Hiram P. McGillicuddy baldness tonic and liver potion ball. We
was
saw
there
that.
another kind of potion smeared on the ball?
Well, apparently, like I don't know, whenever this rule book was written, that was probably a something maybe used for your hair. I guess, yeah.
This is
baldness
not a
tonic and
made
liver
up
potion.
thing?
No, this is in the rule book. The spitball, Vaseline ball, and the Dr. Hiram P. McGillicuddy baldness tonic and liver potion ball. And me and my brothers found the book when we were kids, and we're like, "This is the funniest thing ever." So I never even thought about it until right now, but I still remember it from when I'm 7. Dr. Hiram P. McGillicuddy baldness tonic and liver potion ball.
That needs an acronym for sure.
I don't know.
Well done, though.
Yeah,
Good memory on you.
I remember pretty much everything. Getting
For
a
better
little
or for worse.
getting a little worse now, but I for a long time I could remember, like, I remember this practice we had 4 years ago when I started playing this riff, and Bruce will not remember it, but I could remember every rehearsal we ever played, every basketball game I ever played, like most of the things that happened in it, and but certain things I can't remember well, like even like words and songs. Like I'm a singer, but I'm not great at memorizing that.
Of your own songs?
No, my own songs are fine. It's cover songs.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's weird.
We are getting older. It's funny now that we're in middle age, you think about events and memories that happened, well, definitely in our childhood, but even in our early 20s where we're grown-ups, like our brains have fully formed. It feels...
Get that mic a little closer there. I'm just realizing.
Oh, it's starting to droop. This mic stand droops.
Yeah.
It feels like another life ago. Some of those even of the early days of us dating. I mean, I remember the key moments, but there's certainly things that you'll reference and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was I there? Oh well.
You're good at remembering what happens in TV shows.
Yeah. He's making fun of me. They say that you remember the things that are important to you. So I like watching TV together. I just don't always like crazy pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. I remember the important stuff for the most part.
Well, that's your memory's only going to get better with time, so don't worry about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember that we had a fantastic interview with Noel, and that is why we are here today.
We're here to introduce Noel Morgan to the world and share his positive energy, his positive outlook on life, and just his wonderful spirit with you all.
Well, there you go. And everyone, I'm sure, who listens to this will have great memories as well, and they'll go check out his music and his video project that can be found on YouTube. And just want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Noel for driving in here to hang out with us for the afternoon, and know everybody's going to love him and his music.
And if anyone else out there knows about the Dr. Here and P. McGillicuddy Ball Tonic and Liver Potion Ball, or how to throw one.
Or maybe they have a fourth rule to add, another adhesive, like no Velcro or something.
Yes, maybe the Velcro ball became a thing.
The Velcro ball did become a thing. Remember that flat paddle that you would throw the tennis ball and it would stick? Oh, I loved that game.
That was pretty fun.
Remember that?
Good for the beach.
Important stuff.
Beach games. I was at the beach and I used to bring like a football, soccer ball, baseball glove, everything just for throwing basically.
Balls.
But it went down and no one in our group had anything to throw, so just had to sit there or stand there or go in the water. You know?
Well, that's what makes you an artist. Using your creativity.
Yeah.
Beach and all.
Build a sandcastle.
There you go.
Okay. Let's jump into Noel Morgan, folks.
Woo!
Make it.
Hello, friends. Today's episode is brought to you by our very own Togetherland Art Gallery, located at 7628 St. Margaret's Bay Road in Ingramport, Nova Scotia. That's halfway between Tantallon and Hubbard's if you've never been.
Togetherland is the perfect place to make and buy art, watch a show, or find your community of other like-minded beauties.
Open Tuesday through Sunday, this community hub is a gathering place for collaboration and experimentation. It's right on the ocean, too, so you can take in that fresh, salty sunshine.
Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m., we host Open Mic with Mike. Music, poetry, comedy, kazoo solos, it's all welcome. We've got instruments and warm hugs. You bring the rest.
And on Studio Sundays, we make art together. Bring your projects or grab an art kit at the gallery to start exploring some creative ideas with your pals.
Bring snacks too if you'd like. We respect snacks.
We've got concerts, workshops, and wellness offerings that'll have you stretching your body and your imagination.
Plus, Togetherland offers free parking, BYOB, and has family-friendly vibes for all events. It's the kind of community you always wished existed.
See you for Season 3 at Togetherland. Find event listings at KristenHarringtonArt.com.
Make it.
We're good. Are you cozy?
Yeah.
Like, most importantly, you can move around and stuff. Like,
yeah, I might get moving. We'll see how
shoulders rolling.
You know, yeah.
You're doing some.
I got some water there, so just careful. I hate to spill anything.
Oh yeah,
on the
okay.
But,
no, thanks. Good call.
I spilled something on this rug. I think it was. I take like electrolytes and some creatine mixed together, and I spilled some in here. I didn't know, and then like a week passed. Like, what the hell is that smell? And I had to take this mat out and to get a shop vac to it and just scrub the hell out of it like 3 times. The first time I did, it's obviously clean. I just scrubbed it, and a regular glass of water wouldn't do too much damage.
Wouldn't do too much.
Yeah.
You didn't know you had spilled it?
No, it was like behind me,
Yeah.
and I think I just hit it with the chair, and then found it like a day later. Oh, there's a sideways bottle in here or something.
One time when I was in college, I had bought, my landlord was allowing me to paint whatever color I wanted in my crappy apartment that I was living in. So I went to the store and got a mist tint paint, of course, because that's all you can afford. And so when they do the mist tints, like it had been sitting there for a long time. They take the lid off, give it, like check it, give it a stir, give it a shake. So I had it in the back seat of my car, and as I was driving home, a cat ran out in front of me, so I slammed on my brakes. This bucket of paint went flying into the back of the driver's seat and exploded everywhere. And it was stick shift, so I went back to like grab the lid and then it was all over my hand and I'm changing gears and then it's on the steering wheel and that's my spilling thing story.
What color was the mist tank?
It was like a light, almost mint green, and the interior of my Volkswagen was jet black, of course. So very high contrast.
Did it remain like green forever? Kind of? Did you just embrace it? Yeah.
We also used the shop vac and like dumps the water and Anyway, what's your spilling story? Does anything come to mind?
Oh my gosh, that is a good question.
You're on a construction site, like maybe a bucket of nails.
I mean, that's definitely happened. We were kind of trying to make a funny video to do some promotion for a show one time, and my wife Georgia was like, there was a nice painted wall in Kentville.
Yeah.
And I was like filming her, and she was like, had her ice cream, and she was trying to first. She was just like, it was pretty funny because she first screwed up Lookout Tower's name, the band name, like. Like, come see Watchtower, and then like
all along the Watchtower,
and then went for the cheers, and the double scoop just fell right off onto the ground, and then my dog was right there, and like he went in right for it, and then she picked it up and put it back on, and we cheers. It was it made for
a little gravel on it.
Yeah, a little gravel, you know.
Yeah, mixed in with the chocolate chips.
Moon mist with gravel is my favorite kind of ice cream.
Very Nova Scotian.
Toughen you up.
So are you guys from the valley or did you just happen to find yourselves there?
We are both from the valley. So yeah, she grew up a little further down, like Kingston Way, Aylesford. And I was Port Williams, and we both traveled around and kind of went to school in different places. She was in Truro, and I spent about 5 years in St. John's. Went to Munn.
Nice.
Yeah.
A little bit of time out west. Georgia spent more time out west. And then, funny enough, we met at a Valley rugby reunion where at the time I was playing on the team and she had been back for the reunion.
Okay.
And we met that summer and we went out west together, and there was some time, a little bit of distance here and there. And then
did you guys have rugby at your high school? That's like high, big time for the valley.
We did. Yeah. West Kings, Horton.
Okay.
There was a bit of a league when we were going through CK Middleton at times.
Okay.
Down there.
Things have changed since my day.
Would you gone Bridgetown or?
Yeah, I went to Bridgetown. We were rivals with Middleton, but
I can
did
see
not
that.
have rugby or football or anything.
So do you actually know the rules of rugby?
90%.
I didn't know anyone knew the rules. I just got out there and started running and throwing the ball sideways and trying not to get a concussion.
I think that's pretty well all you have
Those
to
are
know.
the rules.
Yeah, he's like, that's the whole game.
You pretty well just run. You can't pass it forward. You try and stop the guys, tackle them. It gets a little hairy in terms of like once the tackle's been made and some of the rules around the scrum and the rock. But you try and do things that you think would make sense as like being legal. And then if a whistle blows, you go, me?
What's the deal with when they lift the guy up?
That's a funny thing. Like sometimes in the pros, they do it on the kickoff as just a way to get the ball at a higher point. And I think that's all it is. So, but around here, you'll see it on the lineouts. When the ball goes out, the way to reset the play is that whoever's deemed to have possession, if the other guy's kicked it out or something, you get possession and then you throw it in, and you have to throw it in a straight line down the channel between both teams. There's like a lineup of both teams. And it's just a cheeky way, I think, to make sure you get the ball because the other team doesn't really know where you're going to put it. And if you launch one up in the middle and you know that you're going to lift your guy up there, then they go get it. So
you don't always have to lift the guy, just it's kind of periodic.
I think so. I mean, they tend to lift it quite
Back
often.
to the arbitrary rules of rugby.
You don't have to lift them.
I think you should lift on every play.
Agreed. That's the most exciting part for the fans.
Lift them.
What's this called? What's the name of the lift?
That's a line out when everyone's set up like that. I don't know. A lift, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. During the
I
line
accept
out.
that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything.
Yeah, I think that's all. I never played that position. It tends to be a few positions that like get lifted. I always thought it was exciting, but never.
Is it always a lighter guy who gets lifted?
It's usually a tall guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like not necessarily light, but
Yeah.
tall and get the long arm out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
If I played, maybe I'd get lifted.
I could see you getting lifted. Yeah.
You want to get lifted, don't you?
Well, I'd get hurt in 30 seconds of a rugby game. Like I
you'd
go
be
shoot
surprised.
around playing basketball by myself, and I pull an Achilles tendon these days. So
That's why
you
your
know.
T-shirt is appropriate.
Old fart.
Old fart, yeah.
Have you ever thought about the parallels with athletics and the arts? Because we have found, having now met a lot of artists, that not necessarily everybody dabbles in both of those worlds, but it's something that Mike and I have in common, that we both grew up on sports teams, and there's, we sort of felt that lesson of commitment and drive and teamwork. And what's your experience with that?
That's a good question. I mean, I definitely see some kind of link, and I've thought about it over the years a little bit on what that might be. Like, you named a few things there, the commitment, and like, whether it's with, especially if you're talking a team sport and a band, there's a lot of things there that need to happen. Bit of a plan, people coming together, working it through, and then there's both. Oftentimes have that entertainment side too, which is nice. Whether as much as some people might think it's not a thing, but when sports, you practice and you play and it's great, but then there's something about being on the stage too. If it's a bigger game or something, you've got people out, and you see it in the pro sports, they're
under the bright lights, right?
Under the bright lights, there's the whole other cultural side to it. And I don't know, in this day and age, people keeping their brands and things like that. And so I think there's a lot of overlap. I still try to get out and move my body. I mean, it just feels good. I find that they still, I don't really play on teams so much anymore, but they still give to each other. Like, there's creativity in sport, What are you going to do with the ball, or how are you going to go about something? I mean, I know you get the basketball going. It's not something I do too much, but like, I like to watch a lot of creativity out there. And I don't know how I would link those, but there's got to be some kind of link. And I definitely appreciate both a lot. Like, growing up, music was around, and I was lucky to have some music in the house with like my mom and my aunts. And
did they play or just listening?
Listening, and my mom played guitar and sang quite a bit, and my aunt played a lot of piano, like in the church and in different settings. And but it was always something I never thought about too much in terms of making a career or striving in that direction for a long time. It was what it was. It's nice to have come in this direction later in life. I mean, sometimes you can think, oh, it would have been nice to get into gear a bit earlier or certain things, but life just, everyone has their own journey. Like, I was definitely pretty heavy into the sports at a younger age, and then kind of maybe had some kind of practical, get the air quotes going, brain happening. Like, go to school, it was like going and doing a commerce degree, and like sports was still a big idea. And
did you ever think you were going to be a professional athlete? Like, was there ever a point in your life?
I don't think so. I'd like to say yes. I would have loved it. And like, I think as a kid, if somebody's asked like, what would you like to be? It was probably like an NHL player.
Yeah.
But it was, I don't know if it was being down in the valley or what. It seemed like a completely other world. Like, it wasn't, some people have that dream, and it's nice to see even like guys that we grew up with have kind of made it to the athletic stage, like Drake Batherson and some of these guys. So it happens. I mean, Nova Scotia, we've got some top tier talent. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah. So I mean, but no, I mean, honestly, never really thought I'd be a professional, but like enjoyed getting out and playing, and it was life for a while. But at a certain point, like after my degree, a lot of my friends and people in the program, they were getting these serious jobs and things, and then that was kind of when I shifted, and like I had just started playing some gigs at the end of my time at MUN down on George Street.
And you were studying commerce there?
Yeah. Which, like, looking back, it's not like I was super passionate about it, but it just seemed like, oh, well, I'll get that.
Gotta do something.
Get a job with that. Sure, though, somebody will be hiring me with that.
Yeah.
And, just buzzing along, not too much thought of what it might be. And then, the music started really creeping up on me in a good way in Newfoundland. Like, they've got a nice little scene downtown, and, obviously a lot of music in Newfoundland, we used to love going down and just catching shows, and wasn't really a part of the scene, I wouldn't say. Like, I started doing some solo stuff and a lot of covers back then, and just doing some little gigs here and there,
Yeah.
open mics, and started playing with people. But loved the idea of, oh my gosh, like, go down and you don't know who you're gonna see, and what's the band gonna be like, and what are they gonna be doing, and that's kind of where that side of it opened up for me. And then I left and traveled around a little bit and started doing more gigs, and eventually was like, geez, it would be nice to go and be a bit more creative and actually be writing more songs. And so it was like a long arc, kind of, and
Slow burn
on getting into like writing songs and creating songs and putting on shows and collaborating with people. And I still feel quite new to the scene in a lot of ways, but it's been a lot of fun. Like, Nova Scotia is a pretty welcoming spot in that regard. I find, like, it's been nice to meet a lot of people and try to put on shows, try to collaborate, put some stuff out. It's always a little nerve-wracking, I find, when the actual releasing of material.
Sure.
But like,
now it's out there.
I know, it's like, now it's out there. Wow.
What are you nervous about, that people are gonna not like it?
I guess so, and even part of it is, maybe, do I like it? And you work on a song for a long time, and you hear it so many times, and you think, what is this thing anymore? Like, that, and I think I've heard you guys talk about it. That's a nice thing about making something raw and not polishing it too much. Kind of gives you some grace. But yeah, I don't know. Like, sometimes I've talked about or thought about the relationship between what the art is versus myself. And I've heard you guys talk and other people talk about, like, how it's usually an extension of oneself in a lot of ways. But I think something that actually gives me kind of confidence to put things out is sometimes remembering that, as much as it is a representation of myself, and it's quite personal in a lot of ways, it isn't me. It's my art. I think that was something my wife said at one point. Sometimes when I have some doubt or something, I kind of think about that, and I think, hey, this meant something, and I created this, and I like it, and maybe it speaks to somebody. And so, yeah, I don't know where I was. I mean, that was a bit of a tangent I just took there. And
I love this distinction you've made, though, because it's rare that maybe we give that perspective on things. That I would say, if anything, the separation for me has been the job that we do. Like, if you are working on a construction site, for example, like, that doesn't have to be your identity or your creative identity. Like, that gets to have space to be separate. But often we do look at our art as being an extension of ourselves. And that too can be a lot of pressure, thinking about the identity around that. But I really like that way of thinking, that art can be art. It doesn't have, maybe it's just a thought we had or a reflection on something. It doesn't have to be this whole deep rooted laying my heart on the table every single time either.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, oftentimes it's going to be, because that's where it's coming from. And, another thing that I keep in mind sometimes is, you have, like, your intention or this idea, and then you have the final result. And for me, there's usually a gap there. Like, I'd love to say that, everything comes out exactly how you want it planned, whether it's, painting or drawing or creating a song. There's an idea, then you lay it out there, and then it usually ends up taking a different shape. Like, that was definitely the case for the videos we were working on this past year. Like, if you look back at some of the early ideas and sketches and then looked at the final product, I mean, it definitely took a change. And oftentimes those are like some creative magic that happens there, and it's all good stuff. But I take it with a grain of salt too, and say, hey, it's not me, it's my art. But it is an extension of myself, and I like to think about that. And like you said about the jobs, like, I've had to lean into that over the years, because I know I feel like we chatted about this a while ago when we met at Blanche's place there. Like, we were both kind of in that early stage of kind of wanting to transition away from more traditional work to be full-time artist. And I mean, hats off to you guys. Inspiration to see you guys both being fully in the art and it's a hustle and you're doing different things. I haven't made it there yet in terms of fully being in the arts, but I mean, I've always I've worked some different jobs and different interesting jobs, and it all comes together, and it's all a part of life. And being present and then enjoying each day. It's not all at this point going to be creating art or things like that, but I think you can really take a lot from those things and include it in your art. But then at the same time, if you're getting down on it, like you said, it's nice to be able to say, listen, I don't have to define myself as one thing. We're all very fluid beings, whether it's an artist or a construction worker or you're working in care, like, some different jobs I've had. Like, I don't really like to get bogged down by identifying myself as that one thing because I find it puts yourself in a little bit of a box. Like, I know it's easy for people to do that, especially I had some professionals in my life and things like that. And it's easy to just identify as what your main profession is. And that's who you are. But I think a lot of us were much more complex than that.
Yes.
So day by day.
You described how oftentimes you have an initial excitement when you come up with an idea or some type of concept, and as it takes shape and maybe additions are added or taken away, things are adjusting, that you've in certain circumstances lost maybe some of that initial excitement. Have you had the opposite happen, where as it's beginning to take shape, that it becomes a whole new life form that you never expected in the very positive way?
Oh yeah. I think maybe I didn't even articulate that perfectly, because I think oftentimes it's what you just said.
Yeah.
Like, it's just it's taken on a new shape, usually in a good way.
Yeah.
Just whether it's through collaboration or how it went down with music or whatever it is. I think usually it's in a positive way. Yeah.
And maybe you were just saying that it becomes something different than it initially was.
Yeah.
But that's it is an amazing thing with when the idea strikes you, and just it is so raw, and like in terms of a song, maybe it's a voice memo, and you listen back and like there's something about that is so honest and primal, and just it's a completely brand new thing that never existed before. But you can never capture that again. You can't go into a studio and record and capture that exact same essence. It's inevitably going to change, because that's just the nature of what happens in those circumstances.
Yeah, I agree, especially when you start layering some different instruments and getting into the weeds with some of that stuff. I mean, it's crossed my mind to put out some music that's someday just straight up voice memos, because I do like some of the grit and honesty and just rawness of. That's where most of my songwriting kind of starts. I'll just get the voice memo going, and but it's hard to recreate it. That's a moment in time.
Kristen did an art show, I guess it was almost 2 years ago, called Galactic Pie, and made pieces inspired by partially the cosmos. What else would you say, Kristen? Just being human.
Yeah, it was this idea that we're all kind of made up of the same stuff. So the paintings and the viewers and the paint that was on the canvas is all molecularly the same. So it was capturing, yes, this idea of humanness, but our connection to one another as well. And space, because space is fun.
And I
like that.
I did a soundtrack for it. I made an album, kind of an ambient, I guess, very spatial sounding. And I wanted to capture the idea and that be it. Like, I didn't want to make demos. I didn't want to have even a voice memo. I came into the studio, sat down, and I guess I'm lucky that I just have the gear that I can capture it sounding good enough right away. So I just said, okay, I'm going to pick up a guitar. There happened to be a capo on whatever 3, just started playing, and I'm recording it. And I'm like, this is going to be the song. So the final version of the song is the first time I ever played it.
That's great.
And they're layered to hell and all that. It's and they're all instrumental. But it's the idea just came to me in the exact moment. And I'm like, some of these are pretty good actually. Like I like how they turned out. And they're kind of, it would be a little bit hard. You couldn't really do that with a song and with lyrics. I'm sure someone could, but I couldn't anyway.
Right.
You have to think that out a little. But this is just, it's instrumental stuff that's just kind of building. Like you play the same part, whatever, 24 times in a row, and then it switches to something else and it's a little bit bigger. So with that style, you are able to do that a little bit more. But it was a really fun experiment and something where it didn't have to do the demos, do the pre-production, bring in different people, have different collaborators. It was just like, I'm capturing it in the moment, and once it's done, and we go from there.
That sounds great. Is that something that is out there, like people can, or was that more for the show?
I did it for the show, and like people who like bought paintings got the songs, but they're not released to the public right now.
Yeah, right.
And I do want to go. I want to remix them. I got, because it was all done in a pretty short period of time, and maybe listen back and maybe add a few different things in that. But I do like how they turned out, and people seem to like them.
No, they were
if you're into that style, like
they were beautiful. It makes me wonder too. I'd like to ask both of you this question about, since we're kind of having this conversation, I'll call it perfectionism or not having those expectations. Like, does it matter what the medium is or what the outcome? Because I feel in the world of podcasting, for example, I don't want it to, there's no such thing as perfect or perfectionism. We're sitting around just kind of hanging out. We don't really know where the conversation's meant to be raw.
Every episode we do is perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes, in our eyes, but it's meant to be raw. There's something about the rawness that actually makes it good. Versus maybe if I were trying to paint your portrait and you wanted it to really look like you, there's less wiggle room for error.
Right.
So I wonder, although we accept some of the differences in the outcomes from our original vision, does it matter what the project is in the first place to have that level of acceptance? That's
a good question. You what do you think about that? I mean,
I think the medium is important.
Yeah.
Like in what you described in painting is a perfect example. You can have a piece of abstract art like we see in the background. And for me, that can inspire joy and just wonder or whatever it may be. And other people may look at that and like, a 3-year-old could do that, And
they've definitely said that to me.
Yeah. But, and then there's something about creating something visually that is an exact replica or some close replica of something that captures a moment in time or captures something very specific. Music, I guess, can be the same. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit different, but you can have very generic songs or generic topics, or I guess just follow particular trends. But it is a slightly different analogy. And I was going to say you can have just really weird stuff, but the example with art maybe stands with visual art.
Stands alone in
stands
this one?
on its own. I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like I haven't actually dabbled too much, but it's been on my mind a lot to try and get creative in terms of crossing mediums through art. And, I've done a little bit, we always drew growing up, and my wife and I have some paint supplies, so we'll do some painting. But it's an interesting time, like in terms of that sound quality, maybe of a song, like, I've been bad for getting into the perfectionism rabbit hole
Mm-hmm.
when gearing up to maybe release music. But then there's also the other side of it where I feel like I've heard people use the language like, I released a song, but it's only in a reel or something, like there's so much out there now with technology that's like, we're not just putting out old vinyls that you've worked on and done all this. Like, people can take a 1-minute video and then it can be uploaded immediately online. And what do you call that? I mean, it's not an album that took 2 years to work on, but it is a sound and it's out there. And so it's kind of interesting.
That's a great
to think
example.
about.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and even then you can get in the weeds with, oh no, that wasn't a good take. I'm not, I'm pretty bad for doing that in terms of, okay, yeah, I should probably do some promotion and I'll take some videos and, whether it's, playing a song or doing something. And, at the end of the day think, nah, that's not quite what I was going for. And then I'll just not post it maybe, and so I've got quite a, sitting on a bit of a bank of videos that really never saw the light of day. And not to say that maybe who knows, maybe they will see the light of day, but that's something I think I battle with a little bit, the perfectionism, wanting to sound good, practicing something, personally want it to sound good, and then think also, looking up to a lot of people who play and professionals with the chops and everything and songwriters and thinking, I gotta, if I'm putting this out there, I gotta make sure it's good or it stacks up or it's done in that way or, respecting the greats who have come before and things like that cross the mind. But on the other end of it, I think it's so nice when people can just go for it and just put things out at a faster pace. I find I'm pretty slow. I'll have ideas and I'll sit on them and I'll work on something and I'll sit on it and it ends up taking some time. But I mean, hats off. I love to see an artist that's prolific and they're putting videos out and they're putting songs out and usually it's just that fire's burning. So it's all good stuff. But as the creator, sometimes you can get a bit more self-conscious. I don't know how you relate to this, Mike, or maybe in terms of like some what's imposter syndrome in certain mediums, like even with painting and things like that. I had this idea recently, like to, instead of doing merch for the new album, and even like at this point we didn't do any physical copies like the old CD. We got some CDs and shirts and stuff, but this one I went no merch, but I was thinking of doing some paintings and then maybe like making some bags. Like I've got this old Singer sewing machine that I like don't know how to work, and I've got some material. So I was thinking of just making some raw stuff and not even putting any branding on it, just making some stuff and then having that as merch. Like, what is that? It was like, and then maybe there's more of you're relying a bit more on word of mouth. Like, what's that bag? It's like, oh yeah, I got it at the show. Like, you should check out the album. But like, haven't pulled that off yet, but it's one of those things that's like in my head.
It's percolating in
there.
There's no right or wrong, right?
Yeah, no right or wrong. It's just art.
This day and age, there's no formula, no template. We're all just figuring out what works for us individually and what makes sense. And maybe you making your bags with an old sewing machine will be what defines you in this moment. Like, you go to a show and you can walk away with that, and it's just a cool, unique thing that is uniquely you, which is a cool thing. We're all trying to stand out in some way, right? Everyone's trying to find their thing, and
yeah, exactly.
And obviously, we want our music, our art, our craft to be our main thing, but those little things kind of add up and create your identity. Now, I was going to go. So I wanted to say something else. When we were talking about the releasing our art and how there is kind of sometimes a push to put stuff out fast, and feels like we're kind of forced in that direction just to stay on top of our social media and to keep people entertained. But then there's that thing we're battling with perfection. Like, oh, we got to make sure this is sounding awesome and it's the best version, the best possible take. my favorite song in the entire world is actually a live video that's a YouTube cover. Gregory Alan Isakov is covering Iron and Wine.
Okay.
And it's not even released. It's just a YouTube video. You can only watch or listen on this YouTube video. And that's my favorite song I've ever heard. So I ripped the MP3, have that on my phone, and I listen to that all the time.
Yeah.
But this is just a live, one take, spur of the moment thing. And that is, of every song in the world that's ever existed, I would say that is my favorite one. Yeah. And that was just captured in the moment. I'm like, something about it resonates with me in this capacity that I like it to the most extreme amount. Yeah. So it's also like, I'm sure if they did a bunch of they could have did a bunch of takes, and like obviously he's an amazing musician, and he had one other guy playing guitar with him. It's very basic, but I don't know, maybe if he thought like, oh, we can get a better take, or I mess up this part or something, never would have released it. But it's out there, and the rawness of it makes it good. The uniqueness of it makes it good.
Oh yeah, I should know this probably. I could have looked at the discography, but do you guys ever do like live albums or anything with like Town Heroes?
We never released a live album.
No.
We have a couple just videos,
Yeah.
just on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah,
but something I have been thinking about for a while.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, something that I would like to have out there eventually.
Yeah.
And it just gives you another option to showcase those songs in a different way. And someone might say, "Oh, this version of this song's my favorite." And
yeah, I like the idea of it. I haven't put in really any other than some videos. Yeah, I haven't released any like live albums or anything. But like, I got into listening to quite a bit of like Grateful Dead over the years, and like it's amazing how many live albums they have, like from the tapers at the live shows, and like to just be able to tap into, like you said, just that rawness of that one moment at the night where they're playing it, and you know, getting into different types of improvisation, and there's something to be said about the rawness of a live take.
Yeah.
Have you found, given the changing landscape of the music industry, has that influenced your creative process? Do you approach a song or a music video, a big project, differently because of that?
I mean, probably. I feel like ever since I've considered myself in the music scene, it's been, I mean, obviously it's always changing, but I wasn't around when it was, you know, the good old days of whatever that was. You know, it's been quite, you know, social media has been a thing, and all of this technology that, you know, trying to keep up with. But like that was a big reason for getting into that music video project. It was kind of like, well, a few reasons, like, oh, this would be fun. Like, this is a new challenge, a new way to express, you know, these songs or these ideas, make some art. Like you see so many videos, that there's so much video consumption online. Like, you know, you get sucked into it. I try not to get sucked into it too much, but our dang phones, I mean, them things are
they're always there.
Addictive. Yeah. So, but that was like part of the big reason was like, oh, well, if I do want to keep doing this music thing, which I do, I love playing shows. I love connecting with people at the live shows. Like, I think that's what it always came back to for me. Some people really thrive in the studio and they want to work on songs. And as much as I like that, and I do like to write songs, I really like the energy of a live show and being out there and being a part of it. So I think when I was breaking it down, like, okay, I do want to play those shows. I do want people to come out. They're going to need to know that it's happening. Oh, if we make these songs, maybe we may as well make these videos. And then we've got, I mean, geez, it turned into being one large 30-minute, 8-song video. But my thought was having those 8 videos. I mean, that's a lot of video content. Geez, you could even cut those up and put them into reels and TikToks and short version. And, you know, and I haven't done that maybe as aggressively as I
Mm-hmm.
thought I would have
Mm-hmm.
upon the release. I think there was a bit of like like it's out, which I know is, it's nice to, it's a long arc on the release, even after something's out, what you can do to tour and promote it. But that was some of the big reasons for making that, just to keep up with all the content that you see online. And
Sure.
yeah, I not to keep going on about it, but I was almost going to say it was a bit conflicting at times too, because like I said about the addicting phones, it's almost like, you're wanting to get off of them, and you kind of know that social media in a lot of ways it can be time consuming and not great for people, but then at the same time you want to create this positive art and get this stuff out there, and you're proud of it and you want people to connect with it, but you're kind of doing it through the social media, so it's, I don't know, it's a bit conflicting for me sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes I
think we can relate to that. I think most creative people can relate to that. It feels like a necessary part of our work to be present online, even though you're like, oh, so tired of my face.
Yeah. I know. I think I would love to see, and maybe this is already happening. It's not something I've investigated too much, but like, and I don't even really know what it means, but I've thought about this at times to think of like what someone could do to like have a creative, maybe a music career, but really like take a stance against that stuff and like go rogue on some, like, I don't know if that's going back to radio and posters and just word of mouth, hitting the road, playing lots of shows. I don't know.
Do you think it's possible?
I think it's a slim chance. I don't know what at some point, yeah, it's going to circulate online. I mean, people are taking photos of everything.
Yeah. Right.
I think you couldn't. I don't think you could stay completely offline if you're
but
really.
You could rely
yourself
on other people doing the heavy lifting for
Yeah,
you.
well,
I don't have an account.
I'd say there's lots of artists who just don't do their own social media.
Yeah,
they would have their manager or whoever, a team
That's
doing
true.
it.
But this is a more creative way.
I would love to see someone do that.
Yeah.
It would just be so. It's a risk.
It's a risk.
Like, I'm gonna try something, and no one may ever hear me, because the only way people hear off musicians these days is through this medium. But
I know.
I've always loved that kind of mystery around things, though. Like, my art gallery is in a community 10 minutes from here that I had never heard of until I started renting in this community. It's called Ingramport, which is just, a 1 minute drive stretch on the St. Margaret's Bay Road. But I love the idea that when people arrive there, it's a little bit like, am I in the right place? And like, I really had to kind of make an effort to get here. And once you arrive, you sort of have this moment of, oh, it's so pretty in here. This is what people tell me, at least. But I also know that by not being a downtown gallery that you get all this walk-by traffic, that I'm at a detriment to the accessibility of the place. But love this idea of it being just this middle of nowhere destination. That makes it more intriguing to me.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The valley's kind of like that too.
We're on the mountain. Nobody's gonna find us here.
I like that, and I like the idea you said, but I think the majority of the world doesn't think like that. It's the only thing.
Well, sure, and it is. We know it's harder to find by that being your business approach, but creatively, I really like those ideas where it is a little bit more behind the curtain.
It would be a big risk. Sorry, it would be a big risk if you like had it out in the middle of nowhere, and then you decided to go like no socials, and then maybe even took the sign down.
You worked hard on your sign. Yeah.
That's a stretch.
The extreme version. Hello? You never know. That could be
Somebody
the thing.
might roll
That's
in.
the fire right there.
There was a musician. I'm not sure if he's still alive or not. If anyone knows, let me know. His name is Jack McDonald. He was originally from Cape Breton, lived in Halifax, was a preacher of sorts, and he also had this prolific music career. And I don't know, I think Jack had some serious mental issues. Like he was just, you'd talk to him and he was normal, and you hear his album and he's just yelling the craziest stuff like "Crocodile Lady" and just screaming nonsense. But anyway, and I loved his albums. They were just the weirdest things in the world. But he went door to door selling albums. Like he would just cold knock on someone's door. And he came to our house once when years ago I was living with Bruce, and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll buy a bunch. Like we bought like 5 CDs off him. I'm like, Jack must have sold more CDs than Sloan. I guarantee you, if people were keeping track of how many albums he sold, because he would just go to every single door in the city, just knocking door to door, asking if they want to buy an album. I'm sure a lot would say no, but
ratio though, that's by the bootstraps.
He was a very nice guy and a lot of charisma and yeah.
What a legend. I mean, there it is.
We just came up with a marketing plan.
He's the guy that I was talking about. I didn't so he's doing that, get on the road. I mean,
if you're willing to do that, you should try this next album.
It sounds kind of nice. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Mm-hmm. Go knock on some doors. Yeah.
I'd also love to hear you talk more about this 8-song, 8 music video project. Was this a complete vision at the inception, or did the videos come after? How did this all fit together?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it wasn't one big great vision at the start. It definitely came along. You know, I like the idea that I've heard people talk like, you know, it's hard to sometimes envision the big project. You just have to take a bite and start, and then it starts to open up a little bit. Like I was pretty keen on a few songs on the album. Like Old Friend Show was one I wrote about, like reconnecting with people since like after the I wrote a couple years ago. It was kind of like after the pandemic and feeling like even though the rules were kind of gone, we were kind of into a new time. And for us, we had friends around that maybe the time had passed and we weren't really seeing them anymore just because we were in this like new life. And it was like, well, the Old Friend Show, you call up those old friends, you go to the rock show. That was kind of the concept of that. So that ended up being like a pretty big concept of maybe the album in the end. Like that was kind of, it was, I was thinking about naming the album Old Friend Show, but decided to just keep it as a song. And then the other ones kind of grew around it. Ended up being, I think when I started working with the guys making the video, I didn't quite have a vision. I wanted to tie some different shots in mind, and at the like midway through, they kind of stepped back and they're like, "No, this is just like a day in the life of Noel. This video thing that we're making." I'm like, "Oh, I guess it is kind of. It kind of follows me around." And I mean, some of the songs I try to be, some of the songs I write are more direct than others. I try to be a little cryptic. I mean, some of them have deeper meanings than others. Some of them are just more for the music. I mean, almost into the instrumental side of things, letting the music speak. And I don't know. It all came together. I think I almost jumped the gun really early on, thinking that I had an album together, but it was more like 5-6 songs. And then I was like, okay, how am I going to finish this off? Like it's missing something. And so it slowly came. And then we kind of jumped the guns too with making the video. I kept on thinking the songs were going to be done, but then we kept on kind of working on them, but we were working on the videos too. So maybe in a perfect world, I think it worked out pretty well, but I might get my master's and then start the video.
Yeah.
It might be a good way to go, but we were kind of like building them together at times. So it was pretty fun, but I don't know. Long story short, it was a vision of sorts, but like kind of what I was talking about earlier, definitely took a big shift, and things were added in some cases, like day of filming, like, oh, what do we have here? Like, let's use this. This, and then it ended up being like a full song. There was one day we just happened to be filming. It was a nice patio day behind the Seahorse, and Vic was out there working on something, and we said, "You mind if we just film for a bit?" And that ended up being the full song. It was just hanging out behind there.
So fun.
Yeah, so it ends up just being basically wake up in the valley. There's some nature scenes, me and George at the house, and then we drive up to the city, play the Seahorse, rollerblade around the city, rollerblade down Citadel Hill. That was one of the feature shots I wanted to get in there. I was like, that sounds kind of fun.
Was it scary?
Yeah, it was kind of scary. It was more scary the first time I did it, pre-filming, to see if it was a thing. I think I did it one day and I was like, oh, that'd be fun to add that into a music video. And then we got, I felt really lucky to get in, and we filmed at Beerley's, the old Beerley's. So that was kind of nice, like putting that out there. It's a bit of a time capsule because it's been closed for a bit now. So, and that was pretty well the end of the video. So it's just kind of like over 8 songs, just to do.
This seems to be a little bit of a theme emerging with you, though, that you don't necessarily have to stick to this formula or set of rules in your creativity. I think for a long time, we feel like maybe there's a loss in that it used to be this way, in that you would create the album and you would release a complete album and you would do a show and you'd go on tour, et cetera, et cetera. In my world, it's you release a collection of 10 to 12 paintings and you have wine and cheese at your opening. And there's like a very expected way of creating or especially releasing artwork. But as uncomfortable as it can be to realize there is no path any longer, it's actually, it sounds like for you, opened up this whole new world of different ways of going about it, which is almost more exciting.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it's kind of freeing, and it's exciting to try and think about different ways to do it, and like check in with other people. And I love trying to keep up with the scene and what other people are doing. And but then at the end of the day, it's nice to not really compare to, just do your own thing. And sometimes when I think about mixing mediums, I don't know, like I go back to some of that, like that feeling of like, oh, maybe I'm not, not a painter. Maybe I should leave that for the painters. And like same with the music. I mean, I did a year of like jazz school with some of the guys over at Ivany. They've got a great program there at NSCC, and they're like, some people have different view on it in terms of like gatekeeping kind of, or allowing. I feel like you guys are really like open and just, you lift people up, which is really cool. But there is that certain thing when if you're dipping your toes into something new, video or whatever. I like to think that there's really no rules and people should make art, and it's, if they have that inclination and it feels good, and it's nice to see it as someone who seeing someone else's work, and it just feels good to put stuff out there. And I like the idea of just being able to get into any medium, even if you're not a quote unquote like pro. Mm-hmm. And maybe someday you'll build your skills and get there, but I'm trying to be more open to different things, and just kind of see if there's a thread of continuity maybe throughout them that maybe ties it together. But yeah,
it's back to what you were saying earlier, how we're fluid beings. Yeah. We're not just one thing. We're an amalgamation of just our ideas, our inspirations, our upbringing, just everything we experienced. And you can't just encapsulate a person with just, you are this.
Yeah.
Like we're a million things. And I think a creative person is like, I play music, and that's like, I guess if I had to say, what do I do? Like if someone asked me, I guess I would say I'm a musician, but I just see music as a way to express my creativity, and it's probably the area I'm best at in terms of that.
Yeah.
Like I write, and like I think I'm just as much as a writer as a musician, or a studio engineer. Like all those things are some type of creativity, and fairly different. Like it's different writing prose than it is writing a song, but they're connected. It's different painting than doing writing, but there's a connection there. It's just a different way to express yourself and show your emotions. And
yeah.
Do you feel like you have a through line with all of those different expressions?
I feel like there's a transfer of knowledge that carries over. Like even in I remember studying human kinetics when I was in school, kinesiology, and there was one course I took, and they were talking about the transfer of skill set between sports and how certain activities transfer better into others. And I think it's true for art. Like, if you're an amazing poet, you're probably going to be a pretty good songwriter because there's good connections there.
Mm.
If you're an amazing poet, it might not make you as good an artist, like a visual artist, but you know how to express yourself on words. So maybe you can think of your words as colors, and you come up with your own unique way of doing that. I think, yeah, it's just deep down inside, I am this thing, whatever I am, and I'm expressing that on a guitar through chords and the way my voice sounds. And that's because I know physically how to do that. Writing, I know these words. I know how that these words go together. I know how to form this particular sentence based on books I've read and teachers I've had, whatever. I think at the end of the day, yeah, just whatever's inside of us is coming out through the particular skill sets that we have. That makes any sense.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm curious, as your creativity evolves and we've talked about being open to the outcome, maybe not being exactly what you had imagined. Would you say that that also is consistent with your idea of what making it and success is?
I would say for sure. I was just kind of like as Mike was talking there, I got thinking a bit about that transition that like you and I have kind of gone through, like, and I balance. I go back and forth on it a bit. My wife and I talk about it. The making it in terms of, I think at this point it's really I'm fortunate to have a lifestyle, got a supportive partner, and I think at times it would be nice to, be fully in the arts as a creative. But then there's also a nice balance right now where, you work and you get your money and then you're able to create on the side. So I think probably making it maybe that would be your job. That would be nice to not have to go to a construction job or whatever it might be. But there's also something that can be stable in that. I've kind of over the years I've made some decisions here and there where I kind of lean into, okay, you know what, I'm gonna work this so I don't have to worry, and then I can create and it feels good, and I don't have to make money off of this creation. And there's like a nice balance to that, but then it can get out of balance where work gets too busy.
Mm.
It seems like everyone's so busy these days, and then your time for creating and art goes down. So I mean, there's a balance there, but making it, yeah, long road. I think, just keeping that inspiration and that fire alive is great, and continuing to meet people and go take in art. I mean, I still love going to shows and seeing different exhibits and just like meeting interesting characters, and like that's a big part of it. So I think to keep at least one foot in it forever would be making it. But I mean, I think that is there's a balance there, and I don't, it's hard to know what it's going to look like sometimes, depending on, the balance of different income streams and what's taking up your time on a day to day. But yeah, I mean, we're working towards it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest job you've ever worked that you got paid for?
That you can talk about on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, what do we like? Well, weirdest jobs. I mean, they've all been good in their own way. Like I used to work down at the rehab in Waterville, and that's a pretty interesting spot. You know, a lot of characters down there, and some days are better than others, and a lot of good times down there. But that's a pretty interesting spot. A lot of people basically living there long term. They just need help day-to-day kind of thing. They call it a rehab, but almost more of a long-term care spot.
Yeah.
But that was interesting,
Yeah.
I would say.
Our high school drama club used to perform there.
Oh, really?
We would do sort of our, I don't want to say practice run, but we would launch a performance there before doing it in public at the high school.
Nice.
And
so you know the spot.
I know the spot,
Yeah.
and we did The Outsiders one year.
Okay,
and
they're probably
there's
loving it.
a scene in that's just this huge brawl, and the place erupted, really. Good reception.
Yeah,
So
I bet.
it was a good test audience there. But
Oh my God.
yeah, that's in contrast, I suppose, to the creative work that you're doing and in working some of these jobs. But that can be a good thing. And I agree. I walk this line of the missing the security, but also really appreciating the freedom I have in my creative life. And I still, after a few years, don't know the right answer, or the right answer for me could be different for anybody else. There's no kind of magic wand to wave here, but there's pros and cons to everyone's life, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that we've been talking about a lot recently, Georgia and I, because she works a lot in the world of agriculture. She studied up at the AC in Truro and has held quite a few different jobs and lots of interesting experience. And, it's hard to know if it'll ever work out this way, but like she would love to farm. And we've talked about that as a way of maybe combining, work, but having our own space, being able to work a farm, getting that income, and then it kind of going well with the creative side too, being able to have time to sit and play the guitar, write songs, book shows, be your own boss. We're going to see if that pans out. That's a long road to get to that point, but it's something that we've talked about. I know she is really passionate about, and I'm coming around to think, because the grass, like you said, can be greener on the other side. We spent some time in cities, and now we're on the mountain in the valley. And sometimes it's like, oh, I'd like to be living right on Agricola Street and walking downtown every day. And I get a rush out of that. I love being in the city, but at the same time, we kind of made a decision at the time to go up there because you'd have your time, and we're just lucky to have a space, and you can kind of hunker down, be a bit of a hermit. I'm sure you guys have times like that out here where you can really get into your work.
Yeah.
So there's like both of those things. We're going to see. We've talked about trying to move to a city. We've talked about trying to move to a farm. We'll see what the future holds. But yeah, I think it's fair to say at this point, art and music they're wrapped around my leg a little bit. So it's going to be there. And in a good way, I'm looking forward to keeping that going, whatever it might be, new bands, new projects, whatever it might be. I'm looking forward to keeping it a part of my life, but just trying to find the balance.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job. And do you prefer to work with other people? Do you like a collaboration, or do you like your solitude?
I like working with people, but I also like my solitude. In my experience with like performing live, it's been a lot. The way it's been has been me writing a lot of the songs, kind of coming up with stuff, and then kind of coming up with maybe, okay, let's get these people together and bringing in friends or musicians and putting the band together and kind of doing it that way. I haven't really been a part of the more collaborative like band where everyone's writing together and things like that. I think it'd be nice to get into that realm. I've talked to a few people about getting some things going, but that's just the way it's worked out. And for me, it's an easy way to kind of make, not to like sound like a total control freak, but like get things going, and you can reach out to the venues, and you can get people on board, and you get, if you treat people well and get people excited, it's in my experience, that's worked out, and it just ends up being me writing and booking and doing a lot of the stuff to keep things rolling. But the people that are there, we have a good time, and I don't know, we'll see what the future holds. But I definitely a lot of solitude time up on the mountain.
Yeah,
got a little basement set up similar to yourself here, and get down there and get the guitars going and get the loops going and strange sounds and
There you go.
but it's always better
That's
to
all
play.
you need.
Yeah, it's all you need. It's all for me. I mean, I don't know. It's always better to play together. I know some people like to get. Some people will say, "Oh no, you should do more acoustic shows," and we like that. We want to hear you play and sing. And there's a time and place for that. Right now in my life, I prefer a bit more of a hustle bustle at the show and drums and bass and more rock and roll stuff happening. But it's easier logistically to go solo. But I just like the sounds of
You can do
getting people
both.
together.
There's
You can do both.
no reason to limit yourself to one.
That's true too. And you know what? I shouldn't say that because I still do that. I take on some solo gigs and some duo stuff. That's been a lot of fun. I've been playing with Max Cole. He's been playing electric guitar in the 6-piece band. But we've been taking on some duo stuff. So I mean, there's lots of
that's fun.
Lots of ways to go about it. Yeah. A little bit of 4-piece.
How would you describe your genre? Would you use the word bluesy, or are other people using that word on your behalf?
I've struggled with throwing a genre on it, but I would say bluesy.
Yeah,
a lot of blues influence. Indie. We're in the indie realm, I'd say. Like, I think I've just listened to so much, like over the years, like Joel Plaskett and Tragically Hip and Bahamas and the Grateful Dead, and there's probably some kind of blend happening in there. Like, I think when we're really rocking with the band, kind of nice to get some like funky blues happening.
Yeah.
We've added like country tunes in there, and we get sometimes the country blues thing happening. But I mean, like a lot of music around here, I feel like you got to give a nod to the blues because it's it's kind of what it goes back to in a lot of cases, like a lot of the popular music.
Back to the roots.
Stemmed, back to blues, but yeah, somewhere in there.
Beautiful.
Blues, rock and roll.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, lots of exciting things on the go for you, and it's amazing to see such a cool project like you've created come to life. And I'm excited to see what's coming down the line.
Yeah. Do you have any shows or projects that you want to talk about today, or promote or give shout outs?
Yeah, well, thanks. Lots. I mean, nothing coming out right away. We've put out the big project, and I'm taking a little breath with that. But we've got some shows coming up, which is nice. Yeah, we're playing down. I don't know when this is gonna be aired, but we're playing July 19th down at the Malt House. They built a new stage in the back for Ridgefest, and I'm gonna play with Matt Hughes, and I don't know if you guys know Matt, but he's a great guy, great musician, and he actually, he's known for playing really good piano and writing songs and singing, but he actually played a lot of drums with us in the past, and he actually played like 90% of the drums on the album. Cool. But a lot of people don't even know he plays the drums, so that'll be a fun night. And,
very exciting.
Yeah, and I think we're playing Beerley's in the fall with Lizard Hips.
Okay.
Lining up a few things.
Great.
But yeah, we'll see.
And where can our listeners find your latest project and your catalog?
Yeah, most of the stuff's linked off my socials. Like everything is at Noel Morgan Groove. A little play on the salty groove there, and they can go to my website noelmorgan.ca. YouTube is where I put the videos, and all the streaming services should be the songs, and that's about it for now, I would say. Yeah.
Very fun. I have to say, you always look very cool on your social media too.
Oh.
I was going through this morning. I'm like, you always you are cool.
Oh, well,
but
thanks, you guys
look
too.
that way too online. So it's real. It's like the real deal. Like now that I'm getting to sit and talk with you, and I know we've met before, but we haven't really been able to spend time in this way. And you're just real salt of the earth and have so much to offer. And
thank you.
I feel like you look at things like a little bit differently, which I always appreciate learning from somebody new in the studio.
Well, thank you. I look up to you guys. So, love what you've been doing here. You've been going at it a while. I like the shift that you made, little rebrand. I really appreciate you getting me in here. You've inspired me a little bit. I kind of talked about it earlier, but maybe getting some people down in the valley for a bit of some interviews. I think it's nice to hear some of these stories and just a little insight, because you can see somebody's socials and you can listen to their music, but I love what you guys are doing, and I think people do too. It's just a nice way to kind of get a glimpse into some people's lives, and hats off to you. I appreciate
Thanks
you. Yeah,
It's very sweet. Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here, folks, and check out Noel everywhere he mentioned earlier there, and yeah, excited for all your stuff to come, buddy.
Right on. Thanks. Looking forward to seeing you guys keep it going too.
Cheers.
Cheers, folks.
Make It with Mike and Kristen is recorded and produced by Michael S. Ryan at Hot Jupiter Sounds.
Intro and outro music by me as well.
Cover art by Emily Rankin at Take Note Graphic Design, and photography by Candace Moore.
If you cool cats want to help us out, the best way to spread the word is by telling a friend about us. Tell your mom, tell all your buds. Word of mouth is still the best way to reach people. It's free for you and helps us immensely. And if you're into it, you can like and subscribe and all that stuff too.
Another way to support us is through our Patreon. We have a number of super fun tiers and perks like bonus content, handwritten postcards, creative coaching, and so much more. Find us at patreon.com/Mike and Kristen.
For the makers, the dreamers, and the figuring it outers, have fun trying to make it out there, friends.